Hello model car fans, welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Ral, and this week I'm digging into my stash of kits here, and I'll show you this one here, which this is a Johan Hornet Funny Car. Now it's actually a 74 Hornet Coupe and a hatchback, and it's a pretty cool kit, but it's not one that I personally got too excited about because it is just a funny car. You can't build it stock. And that's one of the things that kind of turned me off about this kit. But it's a recent acquisition of mine because it's a rare kit, and I'm not really a collector, but this one was a decent deal, so I went ahead and went for it. And mainly just to show you, because many of you guys are fans of funny cars, and I'm a big fan of the Johan kits anyway, so I went ahead and got this. So I'll go ahead and break it open and show it to you. So here's the box. It's a Hornet Funny Car here, and as you can see, it's definitely a funny car in a typical Johan fashion here. So you see there's the chassis, which a lot of this is shared with a lot of the other cars. So pretty common stuff there, but it's still this stuff's getting hard to find when it comes to these kits here. But here's the side of the side here, and then more Johan kits if you want to jump and start purchasing them all. But there you go. So let's crack this thing open and you can see what's inside of here. So alright, I'll put that off to the side here, and then we'll start with since it's right on top, and I'll just take some of these other parts out of it here. Maybe this thing's been in here probably a really long time. So here is the body, which is a pretty stock body. Got the Hornet emblem in here, 1974 cast into the back there, and then AMC and Hornet, and all the emblems are there. Stock wheel wells, and then the hood's molded shut, and then the Hornet emblem right in the front of the hood. I always liked this front end, and matter of fact, my mom, she had, after she stopped using my 71 Fury wagon that I own, so if you guys have seen my tour video and seen that vehicle, she actually ended up with a 73 Hornet Sportabout wagon, a little hatchback 4-door wagon, but it had this front end on it, and kind of a fun car to drive with the inline 6 and everything, but had this body style. So I kind of got an appreciation for this body style and like that car. So this is the closest to that car in kit form as far as, you know, the wagon goes, which is some of my personal appeal to it. But there's the body, but hood's molded shut, and it's pretty much right from a promo is what that is. Here's the glass right here. It says Hornet right on the inside here, but you can see the big hole cut in the hood for the blower. Or not the hood, for the windshield, for the blower. Which is kind of funny that it's not in the hood. Then here's the funny car interior tub insert, which this actually mounts to these pins right in here. So when this was, you know, stored in the box, this was assembled, kind of, and it's a really tight fit. It makes me a little nervous getting it in there, but I'm not gonna, well, maybe get them to line up here. There they go. And it just pretty much pops right into place, and you can glue it. There's really doesn't seem to be too much actually holding the windows in there, because a lot of times they'll have marks in there. And then this glass could use a little bit of polishing, but there's that. And since the next layer, here's the chrome tree. So there you go. Let's turn it over. So you can see the stock front bumper and grill assembly. So I always like that grill. The oil pan, the custom valve covers, the gas tank here, and some of these other parts, these race parts. That's a starter. And then these are the disc brake calipers right here, and the brakes. And then so the wheelie bars, the big wheels for the back, the fire extinguisher, and then some more of the gas tank parts. There's the big blower hat right in the side, and all of the blower parts, and all of the wheels, which inner and outer of the front wheels, and all of the suspension parts. And all of these are very brittle, unfortunately. So my experience with the funny cars is sometimes these will even break trying to cut them off of these trees, so being very careful. And the tiny little steering wheel, which is pretty cool. And this one, the taillights were just kind of put into the rear bumper just to store them, but they're not glued, they're just kind of shoved in there. But there's the rear bumper and the taillights. So there's all of that stuff. So we'll set that aside. And here's the funny car tires, the small and big Race Master tires here, which have all kinds of wording on there. There's Goodyear on the front tires, Race Master on the rear, and then this side, yeah, Race Master also. But these are pretty cool. And a little bit of mismolded looks like on this particular example. So there's the tires. And here's one of the trees with the exhaust falling out, and it's funny, it says cut out right on there. That's the inner wheel backs of the rear tires. And then the header, which the other header is in this box. And here's the other one. So I'll put those together. And then we got another tree right here. This is the engine. So this is an AMC engine. Not a very good representation, but it's the AMC that you see in a lot of the kits. And the heads, the parachute, the trans cross member, the motor plate in the front with the timing cover, the blower, the really tiny drive shaft, and the parachute. I'm not quite sure what that part is right there. And then here's the rest of the roll bars, the side frame pieces, the roll bar. There's the floor for the seat, and more of the roll cage here. The rear end. There's the seat, and then another parachute. So it's got two parachutes and some really tiny, and then these are the uprights that hold the body up when it's pivoted up. So those are all included. And then here's the interior hat that goes on the inside of the glass that the blower pokes through, because the motor is set way back in there. And then here's the blower intake base, which fits in that AMC right there. And then last thing in the box is the simple directions. There's a tiny little pin in there also from something. And this one's got a really great set of decals. They look perfect, which is kind of surprising. So set those aside. And then of course the Hornet Funny Car decals, or instructions. So there's building the motor and all the components to it. And I had somebody point out that these numbers aren't always the same as far as in correlation to putting them on here, because there are no numbers on the trees, but it's in the order of how you put it together. You start with the engine block, then put the heads on, then I guess the magneto, and then you just move, and then you put, you know, number 8 part on after number 7 part. So somebody pointed that out to me, and I never really made that correlation before. And it just kind of goes down to 3, section 2, 17, 18, 16, 17, 18. So just kind of telling you which order to actually put them in. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Never really thought about that. But that's how some of these are actually written. So putting all of that together. And then the back side, fairly simple kit. And there's the gauges, which are on the chrome tree, the brake pedal, and how to put it together. Although this is kind of funny. This rear bumper and this taillights, that's actually the 70 Hornet, not the 73, 74 Hornet. And then this grill is the 70 Hornet as well, which they did have a kit of that, and the body actually pictured as the 70 Hornet. So the instructions look like they're the actual 70 Hornet instructions, which that car, it's pretty much the same other than the body itself and a few of the parts. But that's the kit and all of its contents in here. So it's a pretty rare kit, and you don't see too many of these come up for sale, so it's kind of why I bought it. But it's funny, as I really like the car, and I want to build it more stock, and you can't build this stock. So the best thing to look for is a promo, which will give you a stock interior and chassis, but the hood molded shut. So that was always my plan, was I want to build one of these, but I want to have a little bit of fun with it and build it more stock. but there's really only the bumpers and the body. You got to come up with the windshield and everything else as far as the interior and the chassis and the wheels, but you can get all that from a promo, because they did make promos of these, and if you're looking for that, that's one way to do it. But on the other side, because I'm such a fan of resin and like keeping the options open on resin, Jerry Chevalier did cast this, and I guess he did a limited run of these. I don't know if they're still available or not, but he did a small run of these. So here's his resin body, pretty much right up next to this one, and it's pretty much the same, although the rear panel is completely different right there. And then the fronts and hood, pretty much all the same there. So pretty much everything's there. So the rear panel is just a little bit different. Now it might be the way they did it on the promo, because here's the panel he gives you, and it's got the ribbed Hornet tail panel, which I think is pretty cool, where this one just has 1974, and then the bumper's down lower. So, or the license plate is down lower. So this might be 73 or 72, but still pretty cool. And the taillights are cast and molded in, so you have to detail paint those and chrome this. And then he also provided a front bumper and grille, which this is cast in a different resin, but very, very nice. I need to, I don't think I'm going to chrome these. I got another idea. And then here's the stock interior that he provides. So that'll get painted up and detailed a little bit. And then here's the dash, which this is a pretty accurate. I think this is right from one of us, a 70. Not quite the same as the 73, 74 that my mom's car was, but really similar. And but a pretty nice representation. And then here's more of the 70, 71 steering wheel that he provided. And then he did provide an extra hood if I want to cut the hood open and put an engine in it. And here's the simple molded in chassis here, which is not very accurate, but that's what you find in most of these Johan AMC Javelin and kits, because that's what I recognize. It's like just like the Javelin one, other than the way it's shaped in the front here. This might be what they used in the Hornet also. Tranny looks a little different. So this is from one of those, a different kit. I'm not really sure where this is from. And it'll be kind of fun to build. But this particular one, I've got my thoughts on what to do with it and have some fun with it. So since I don't have a motor, and there is some AMC 6s, but I don't know if I'm gonna do that. But I'll get it fitted and get it all put together, and I'll have some fun with this. And part of me thinks put a Hellcat in it and some big wheels on it and a slammer and have a little bit of fun with this one. So that's my main motivation for that. Oh, and one of the last things, he does provide patterns to make the windows out of acetate, so you can make windows from this. So I figured you might enjoy this, so I figured I would share this rare kit for you and the contents, and you guys enjoy it, so I appreciate it. And not too many people show some of the contents and guts of some of these vintage rare kits here, so it's always fun to look into the history and some of these really old kits. So thank you for tuning in, subscribing, and watching, and all of your comments. You guys, you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next weekend.